I can't begin how to describe the first round of tonight's NFL draft. I mean, every minute of that draft, it kept you in suspense. It showed the unpredictability that the NFL draft has. But Cleveland did the obvious thing with Myles Garrett, the first overall pick. We were expecting that, but it's what happened after that that set the tone for the whole night. We had, let's count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 6 trades tonight. I would say this is probably the most chaotic first round of the NFL draft we've ever seen. And so many teams are making moves, trying to make moves. See, it started off with Chicago moving up one spot to draft Mitch Trubisky. But we'll talk about that when we get to it. We had Kansas City move up 17 spots to draft Pat Mahomes. We had Houston move up 13 spots to draft Deshaun Watson. We had the Atlanta Falcons move up 5 spots to draft Tarkis McKinley. And we had Cleveland trade back into the first round for David Njoku. And we had San Francisco trade back into the first round, which I kind of anticipated that happening, because as soon as I saw that San Francisco got all these extra picks for the Mitch Trubisky deal, I honestly knew that the 49ers had some leverage to get back into the first round. So a bunch of unpredictability from tonight. What I did here is I conducted some grades for these first round picks. Let's start off with Cleveland with number 1 at Myles Garrett. I gave this an A+ because I think it was the smart thing the Browns could have done. They could have easily just ignored everything with Mitch Trubisky, but they didn't. They did the smart thing, and the Cleveland Browns get an A+ just for that. Chicago, drafting Mitch Trubisky, quarterback of North Carolina. After all those picks they gave up, just move one spot to draft a guy that's probably not even going to be the day one starter. I'm giving that a C-, and I'm just being generous because I don't know what the point of that was. I feel like San Francisco was going to go with Solomon Thomas the whole time. At least that's what I anticipated. So I give that a C-. I could have easily made this like a D or a D-. But a C- what it is. San Francisco with Solomon Thomas, defensive end of Stanford, I give that an A. Because I think it's a good fit for him. And plus, they were able to get some additional picks for that. So I give it an A because they basically just stole a lot of things from Chicago tonight. Number 4, Jacksonville. We go with Leonard, Fournette, the running back out of LSU. I give that an A-. I think it was a solid pick. The only thing I just have a little bit of doubts on how he's going to do. I've kind of had some questions about, is he overhyped? Is he overvalued? I kind of had the same deal with Christian McCaffrey. Number 5, Tennessee going with Corey Davis, wide receiver of Western Michigan. I give this a B- because I knew they were going to go with a wide receiver with one of their 2 picks, but I didn't think they'd go with Corey Davis at 5 because there was possibilities that they were trying to trade that pick. And plus, I feel like maybe they could have traded down. Like there was talks they were going to try to trade down with Cleveland at 12. There were talks that maybe the Jets want to move up a spot. So I give that a B-. The New York Jets go with Jamal Adams, safety of LSU. I give that a B. I think it's a great pick, but I just feel like that maybe the safety wasn't the first thing they needed. Number 7, I got the LA Chargers going with Mike Williams, wide receiver out of Clemson. I give this an A because it gives Phillip Rivers an additional target. It gives him a new toy to play with. Number 8, Carolina going with Christian McCaffrey, running back out of Stanford. I give this an A. I give it an A because I think it reminds the Carolina Panthers of what they get out of Jonathan Stewart. I don't think Christian McCaffrey is going to get more than 15 carries in a game. But I think he's going to be good for third and short situations. He'll probably do some wonders on special teams. He'll probably be a receiving back for sure. Number 9, Cincinnati with John Ross, wide receiver of Washington. I give this an A-. I was thinking about giving it just an overall A, but I just feel like that maybe that wasn't the first thing they needed to focus on. Because yes, John Ross has speed, and I've been saying that I've been kind of comparing him to A.J. Green or Julio Jones. I think at least Cincinnati has another go-to option other than A.J. Green. Number 10, this is where one of the crazy trades came in. This is probably the most unsuspected thing. Kansas City moving up all the way to number 10 to go with Pat Mahomes, quarterback out of Texas Tech. I give this a B+ because I think it's a solid fit. But here's the problem I have with Pat Mahomes. Yes, he's got great arm strength. But that's all that he does really. All he does is throw deep. And I was listening to a live stream, The Sports Fury. You should check it out. Great talented gentlemen. They know their sports. Really cool guys. You guys should check them out. And they were saying that Texas Tech gets all these great quarterbacks. They produce quarterbacks that always lead the NCAA in passing yards. But when they get to the NFL, they turn into busts. Because throwing deep balls, that's all they do. There's no, chuck it down to one of the receivers about 7 and 8 yards. It's basically like throwing 40-yard bombs the entire time. So for Pat Mahomes to be an NFL starter, I think he has to take advantage of his opportunities in the preseason. He'll be a good one to watch in the preseason. But if he can just stop throwing 50-50 balls up for grabs, I think he can be a starter one day. But there was a theory that Kansas City was probably going to go quarterback with the first round because Alex Smith is aging. And I'm kind of surprised they traded all the way up for him. I still think there's some great quarterbacks that weren't taken tonight, like Deshaun Kaiser, Nathan Peterman out of Pittsburgh, Josh Dobbs out of Tennessee. I just still feel like there are some good quarterbacks still available. Number 11, New Orleans going with Marshon Lattimore, cornerback out of Ohio State. I give this a B+ because I think this is a great pick for them. The only problem I kind of have with this is that he's kind of injury prone. I was speaking with Jets Central this morning about how he is injury prone. He missed his first 2 seasons at Ohio State with an injury. But how much have we really seen out of Marshon Lattimore? That's the question. Number 12, Houston, trading up from Cleveland to get Deshaun Watson, quarterback out of Clemson. I give this an A because I think he fits right into Houston's system. He's got great leadership ability. He's shown success against NFL defenses, or some type of NFL defenses, by playing Alabama in those last 2 national championship games. So his leadership and his poise in the pocket. He looked more relaxed the second time around against Alabama than he did in the first. So I just think that national championship game alone helped his draft stock. So I feel like if we saw the same performance out of Deshaun Watson we did in the first national championship game, we're probably talking, is he going to be a second or third rounder? And plus, he's got all these great targets to throw to, like Will Fuller and DeAndre Hopkins. Number 13, Arizona going with Haason Reddick, linebacker of Temple. I give this an A-. As soon as I saw the combine, I knew Haason Reddick's. His draft stock was going to go way up. Because I think he started the mock draft season about a mid-second rounder, and he improved all the way to get to pick 13. So I think it's pretty impressive because the Cardinals, they did exactly what I said they should have done. I mean, Pat Mahomes was already taken. Corey Davis was taken. Actually, well, all the top 3 receivers were taken at that point. So they did the exact thing that was best for them at the time. Number 14, Philadelphia, going with Derek Barnett, defensive end of Tennessee. I'm giving this a B-, because they had an opportunity to take Jonathan Allen. And yes, he was dropping because they're concerned about his arthritis in both of his shoulders. But I feel like Jonathan Allen is more of a day one starter than Derek Barnett is. And plus, Jonathan Allen has already shown he's NFL ready by playing for Alabama. I understand that you can't assume that just because somebody plays a school like Alabama, they're going to do well in the NFL. But Alabama is a great school at preparing defensive players for the NFL. So I'm giving that a B-. I feel like they should have at least taken a chance with Jonathan Allen. Number 15, Indianapolis went with Malik Hooker, safety of Ohio State. I just think that was I think it was a little bit of an odd pick because I was pretty certain they were going to go with an offensive tackle. So I'm giving this a C because that wasn't, sure they could use defensive help, but they got to focus on protecting quarterback of their franchise, Andrew Luck, first. So I'm going to have to see because they should have gone offensive lineman. Number 16, Baltimore go with Marlon Humphrey, cornerback out of Alabama. I personally like this pick. I give it a B+. Because I kind of figured that the AFC North could use some depth in the secondary considering the wide receivers are going to have to cover. Especially with the Bengals now having John Ross. I think that may have played a little bit of a part of it. But only time will tell. Number 17, Washington went with Jonathan Allen, defensive Alabama. Now this was probably one of the biggest steals of the draft. We'll get to the biggest one later on. But with Jonathan Allen, I mean, many would have thought that he was going to at least be a top 5 pick. But to fall all the way down to 17, Washington gets an A for this steal. This is an A+ steal, but the grade overall is an A. Because I honestly feel like maybe this was the time where Dalvin Cook was going to go off the board. But no. 18, Tennessee went with Adoree Jackson, cornerback of USC. I give this a B because it's not necessarily the best option at that point. But I think it was still something that they could have used. So I gave it a B. It's not a bad pick, but it's not the best pick either. I thought they could have gone with O.J. Howard, which O.J. Howard went next to Tampa Bay. I give that an A because I feel like it just gives Jameis Winston a bigger target to throw to. Because you've already got Deshaun Jackson, Mike Evans. Now adding O.J. Howard to the mix, it makes Tampa Bay a really dangerous team heading into next season. Number 20, Denver went with Garrett Bowles, offensive tackle of Utah. I told those Broncos fans that were trying to troll me in the comment section whether they're not going to take an offensive tackle. Well, they took the offensive tackle. And I gave it an A+, because I think it just fits perfectly. And Garrett Bowles is I think he's probably the most ready out of these offensive tackles in this draft class. I think he's got great endurance. He's great with blocking. He's good at protecting the quarterback. And I think that's what Denver needed. Depending on who the quarterback's going to be next, whether it's going to be Trevor Siemian or Paxton Lynch or whoever it's going to be. Number 21, Detroit went Gerard Davis, linebacker to Florida. I give that a C- because they could have taken Reuben Foster. There are so many better linebackers there. They could have taken Jabril Peppers, or they could have taken Taco Charlton. Or they could have taken Dalvin Cook. Or even TJ Watt. So I give that a C-. 22, Miami went with Charles Harris, defensive end of Missouri. I give that an A-. I just think that was a great fit for them. A great success for Cameron Wake as he's aging. 23, the New York Giants with Evan Ingram, tight end of Ole Miss. I give this a B. I think there's probably other concerns they needed first. They should have gone offensive tackle. They could have tried to get Dalvin Cook. Many thought that the Giants could have been a contender into trading up for Christian McCaffrey. But the Giants went tight end, so I give that a B. Not the best, but it's not the worst either. Number 24, Oakland with Garrett Conley, cornerback out of Ohio State. We all know what happened by now. Many thought that he wasn't going to be drafted, but I kind of had a suspicion he was still going to be a first-round pick. I believe I had him in the scenarios. So I didn't lose hope in him not being a first-round pick. Because we don't know anything yet. So that's all I'm going to speak about on that. Moving on. 25, Cleveland went with Jabril Peppers, safety out of Michigan. I give this an A+, even though I give not an A+, an A-. I just feel like they took advantage of this because he was still available. Many thought they were going to take Reuben Foster at first. But I feel like that they made this move because of how versatile Jabril Peppers is. He's a great position player. He can basically play anywhere on the field. So I give that an A-. 26, the Atlanta Falcons traded up with Seattle to go with Tarkis McKinley, outside linebacker of UCLA. I kind of like the pick coming from an Atlanta Falcons fan standpoint. I think this is going to improve our defense to make another run for the Super Bowl. I mean, especially with his inspiring story. To come to the Atlanta Falcons Brotherhood. It's almost like it was meant to happen. So I give this an A, because Tarkis McKinley could have easily been a top 15 pick if it wasn't for the shoulder injury. I mean, he was the 14th overall pick in the fan mock draft. 27, Buffalo with Tre'Davious White, cornerback out of LSU. I give this a C. I just felt like they could have done other things. They could have maybe just traded out of the first round and wait for somebody else tomorrow. They could have tried to sneak in a wide receiver, especially Zay Jones. I thought Zay Jones was going to sneak into this first round, but he didn't. But I feel like if the first round was a little bit longer, or I felt like Zay Jones was going to fall somewhere late in this first round. But I give Buffalo a C on this. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. 28, Dallas with Taco Charlton, defensive end out of Michigan. I give this an A- because I feel like that this is going to help the Cowboys' defense, especially because the Cowboys didn't have the best defense in the NFL last year. They didn't have the worst either, so that's still good. Number 29, Cleveland traded back to the first round traded this pick to Green Bay for David Njoku, tight end of Miami, Florida. I give this a C- because I think it was still going to be there if they wanted to draft him tomorrow. I kind of disagree with this pick. So I gave it a C minus because why would you trade in the first round for a tight end? But Miami, Florida has a history of building up great NFL tight ends. Greg Olsen, Jimmy Graham, Jeremy Shockey. The list just goes on and on. With the 30th pick, Pittsburgh with T.J. Watt out to linebacker of Wisconsin. I give this an A because I believe I remember in the scenarios that Pittsburgh at 30, that it was going to be 100% T.J. Watt if he was still there. And it was. In 31, San Francisco traded back into the first round. Like I kind of anticipated it to happen based on the leverage San Francisco gained. So John Lynch basically nailed this first round tonight. And they went with Reuben Foster, linebacker of Alabama. Finally, he's off the board. Many thought he was going to go top 10. I, myself included. I'm surprised he even dropped this far. Although maybe it was a possibility that he was going to be available tomorrow. But I think it's better to be safe than sorry, because I believe if the 49ers didn't make this move, the Saints would have drafted Reuben Foster. And then with 32, New Orleans went with Ryan Ramczyk, offensive tackle, Wisconsin. I give this an A minus. And I also gave the Reuben Foster to San Francisco grade an A as well, because this was probably the biggest deal of the night for San Francisco. Because if they didn't try to make that trade, New Orleans would have got him at 32. So basically, 31 and 32 would have been reversed. At least that's what I believe would have happened. Anyway, let's kind of go over some of the big winners for tonight. I feel like if you had 3 big winners for tonight, I feel like the first one should be San Francisco. Because they got Solomon Thomas and Reuben Foster. Probably two of the best 6 prospects in this draft class. So they're a big winner tonight. I think Cleveland was kind of a big winner. Cleveland was going to be the big winner until they drafted David Njoku. Because I think would have been available tomorrow. I think Atlanta was a big winner. And I also think that I'm going to say Pittsburgh was a big winner as well. So your 3 big winners of the night were San Francisco, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh. And Dallas was a winner as well. So let's kind of talk about some prospects that are still on the board while we have some time. I'm going to try to do this in 90 seconds or less. I'm surprised Dalvin Cook is still on the board. I think there's a possibility Dalvin Cook probably goes right away because the Packers need a running back and they have the 33rd pick now. I feel like maybe San Francisco may take the budge because they pick right after that. Dalvin Cook's going to probably be gone within the first. I think he's going to be gone within maybe the first 6 picks. If it's anything more than the first 8 picks tomorrow, I'm going to be really surprised. I'm surprised Zay Jones is still on the board. I think it would have been taken already. Zay Jones will probably be taken within the first hour of the... Probably within the first half hour of the draft tomorrow night. Or the first half of the second round. First 30 minutes. I also am surprised that Malik McDowell's still on the board. I think he's a really underrated prospect. Joe Mixon will be taken tomorrow, no doubt. So those are just some of the big prospects that are still available. And the lesson here is you can't win championships with first-round draft picks. You can only lose them. The ones that are going to win Super Bowls, they may not be in the first round, but steals are hiding in rounds 2 through 7. So that's all I have for you tonight. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter, JB Talk Sports. Have a great night, everybody. I will see you next time.